You ready?
I'm ready.
Make sure. So, how far are you in the process?
I just got my epidural. So I'm feeling great.
The long-awaited
I'm
epidural.
feeling nothing. Absolutely nothing. Hey family, welcome back to On Cloud Lindsay. Hey, so today we're doing a story time. As you can tell from the title, we're going to be talking about our labor and delivery experience back in Toronto. Listen, we're gonna jump right into it and give you just a quick backstory for most of you who know, most of you who don't know. I had to be induced at exactly 40 weeks. I was induced due to extenuating circumstances. The doctor just said 40 weeks.
She was fine, perfectly healthy. The baby was fine, but the doctors decided that if the baby didn't come naturally by 40 weeks, then they would have to induce her because they would not go beyond 40 weeks.
Right. So let's get into it.
The floor is yours.
All right, so I guess I'll tell it from my experience.
And I'll come in when I need to come in.
Okay. So June 20th, my induction date was scheduled for 10 a.m. in the morning. It was a Sunday morning, woke up bright and early, didn't sleep Saturday night, was up all night watching TV. Just waiting. I'm just waiting. I think I was just anxious, nervous. I don't know. So 10 o'clock we left out, or 9 o'clock we left out for the hospital. Got there, registered, and of course, you know, COVID, because of COVID, they have all these protocols in place. Could only be myself and my partner,
who they called support person.
My support person.
It did not have to be.
Didn't have to be him. If he acted up, it could have been, he would have been replaced. So it was just me and my support person. I went in, registered, and we waited in the waiting room for about 5 minutes. At about maybe 10:30.
So you remember the timestamp for everything?
I don't know, maybe. At about 10:30, they let us know that the labor and delivery room was ready. We had our own private room, which, oddly enough, I didn't know that. But we got to our room, got situated, got comfortable. It was a cute little room, actually quite spacious, with, of course, the bed for myself, and then in the corner there was a recliner
chair.
Yeah, for him, and then they had like the little setup for the baby. Cute little room. The nurse came in. My nurse came in, introduced herself, and that's it. They got me going. So the first thing they did, hooked me up to the heart monitor, so they can monitor my heart rate and the baby's heart rate at the same time. We did not, thankfully, we did not have to do a COVID test when we went in. Just had our mask on. Whenever a nurse came in the room, they told us just keep your mask on. They did temperature checks. They did all the necessary regular checks throughout the day, right? Maybe at about 11:30, maybe 11:30 minutes to 12, the doctor came in and explained the procedure again about how I would be induced. So the first thing that they did, she checked my cervix to see if it was soft enough, or I don't know. ripe, ready, and they inserted a balloon into my cervix. So I guess the idea of the balloon is to get the cervix open. That process of putting in that balloon catheter, I thought like you might as well just take the baby now because this is painful.
She was behaving as if she was giving birth.
Listen, it was extremely painful. I never felt that, and they kept going, "Oh, you're okay, you're okay. Breathe through your mouth, in through your nose, out through your mouth." And I'm just like, "No, this is painful, and I don't want to breathe anymore. So leave me alone." And then I started thinking, "Oh my goodness, like I'm gonna have to push, and if I can't handle this." Jerk me up because I can't handle pushing. I remember he was there, I was holding on to his hand, and I don't know why he was screaming out. Like he was carrying on like he was the one in pain.
She was holding on to my hand, my left hand with the ring finger, and she was squeezing the ring on my finger, and I felt like it was going through my skin, and she would not let go, and she was not yet giving birth.
Right, so it was painful. It was a painful process. After it been in for a few hours, they came back and to check, and they were like, "Well, this is working. Your cervix is 4 centimeters dilated. We're gonna go in, break your water, and that should, kind of help your body, trick your body into going into labor." I was like, "No, I'm not ready," because the girl wasn't ready. I wasn't ready.
No, she wasn't ready. She wasn't ready.
So I definitely was not ready for that. I was like, "Can we just wait? Give me another hour. I need to, mentally prepare myself. Like this is about to happen." And she was like, "No, we're gonna do this now because it'll, help the labor process get on its way." So I was like, "Okay." She's like, "Well, we're gonna put this little hook thing in and just pop it." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's a hook. What? Ow!" So again, something painful going inside. She went in and I felt the water just gush. And I remember thinking, "Oh my goodness, this water is really hot." Like this is really like some hot water. She's like, "Yeah, it's your body temperature." So I was having like minor contractions. Wasn't really feeling them at all. But you could see it on the monitor that it was happening. Later down, they came back and they checked again, and they were like, "Well, you're still at 4, like nothing's happening." I went throughout the night into the next day. Still nothing was happening. Yeah, I guess because I don't know if it's because of COVID. I think I've heard that normally when they induce you, they would send you back home for the labor process to get going.
They wouldn't send you back home because they had already decided that you were supposed to have baby by 40 weeks, so they would send you back home.
Okay, well, so I was there in the hospital. So I think Monday came around, and when they checked me, throughout this whole process, I'm constantly doing temperature checks. They're monitoring my blood sugar. I think every 2 hours I had to check my blood sugar. They're monitoring my blood pressure. Like every time the nurse comes in, she does blood pressure and blood sugar level checks. The next day, Monday, still no baby. Nothing is happening.
No
I'm like,
contraction.
well, the contractions are there, but I'm not even feeling them. So they decided to take me back. Actually, they went in and did another check and realized that my cervix had started to close. I was like, "All right, so my cervix is closing. What does that mean?" So they went in again and gave me another medication in hopes that that would help me to, you know, speed up and start the contractions and open back my cervix.
Mhm.
We got to about 4 centimeters, and that was kind of where we sat. And after they gave me one of the medication, I started to feel the contractions. I was like, nah, I want to feel what a contraction feels like. Man, nah, epidural, nah. And then I had one, I was like, oh, that's it, that's little. And then I had another one, and I was like, I don't care what you're about to do, but get me the anesthesiologist in here now. I need this epidural now. And they were like, well, I said no.
And that wasn't even a strong contraction.
Like, oh, the anesthesiologist, he's coming. I was like, where is he? Like, why is he taking so long? After I got the epidural, that was like the best feeling. I felt no more pain, no more contractions. And that was it. The Monday evening,
We were just watching the monitor.
Right.
The contractions, they went up, they went down, and the nurses would come in, change shifts, come in, do their regular checks, and it was just the same thing over and over. Nothing, no improvement, no changes. And remember, her water was broken from Sunday afternoon, and this was now Monday evening going into Monday night.
So it's been 24 hours
More
now
than 24 hours.
since my water was broken. So the doctor came in and he did a check, and he was like, okay, you've been stuck at 4 centimeters for a while now, and it doesn't feel like it's getting any better. So I'm going to actually insert the pill that is supposed to help me with contractions and open my cervix. He inserted it directly into my cervix, and then he's had the conversation. He said, if this is the last measure, because your water has been broken so long, so.
And they tried 2 medication for the contraction. They did oxytocin.
It's not oxytocin.
What was it called?
Or is it oxytocin?
One of them was called oxytocin, and one
And
was
the
called
other one
something
was
else.
something else. I don't remember.
And they tried both of them, and then those didn't work, and then inserting the pill directly was the last. Option.
Yeah, that was the last option. So we had the conversation. I was like, listen, do what you need to do. So he said, okay, and that was it. Later on in the night, at about 11:30, he came back and he did a check.
Because they were still trying to see
they were still trying to honor my wishes, and we're still trying to hold
and
out.
see, but nothing was happening.
So between him telling me that we're gonna have to do a C-section if this thing doesn't take, and him actually coming back at 11:30, I don't know if it was all in my head, but I started having contractions, and I started feeling the contractions. And I was like, okay, this is happening. And I mean, my nurses came in and she was like, let's try this. She did a pillow, and they put the pillow between my thighs to like kind of elevate my hips, my cervix or whatever. And I was like, yes, this is gonna work. I can feel it.
Suddenly everything she did was working.
And I was like, I'm just gonna quietly just push a little bit. And when he came back at 11:30, he was like, yeah, okay, we're still at 4 centimeters. I was so disappointed. I was so sad. And I was like, all right, I gotta accept it. The doctor said, we're gonna do have us do a C-section, and we're gonna do it now. I said, now? He said, well, in about an hour. And I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, can I please just wait until in the morning? And because I'm really tired. He's like, no, because your water's been broken for more than 30 hours. So we need to do this now.
To avoid infection.
To avoid any infection. And no sooner than he spoke the word, I spiked a fever. Of course, now everybody starts to panic because, oh my gosh, you have a fever, must be COVID. you
Yeah.
must have coronavirus because you have a fever. We're gonna do a COVID test. So I think we were prepping to do the
Yeah.
C-section.
I had already started taking out our stuff to the recovery room, and I came back for the final set of stuff. And while I was doing that, the nurse came in to do the final checks, change our gowns, and change whatever. So when they checked her at that time, no, right before the surgery, that's when they realized she had the fever, and she said, "Okay, don't worry about it." What, they gave you a cold rack or something?
Yeah, she's like, okay, I'm give you this cold rag, try to bring your fever down. So I was like, I just need to sleep. And they said, nope, this could be COVID, and you need to do a corona test, change your gown, because now we are being treated like
What they call us PUI. I'm assuming it's person under investigation.
yes,
for
yes,
COVID.
for COVID.
But the funny thing was that they only checked her. She had to do a COVID test, so she couldn't go directly into the operating room. They had to stop the process, change everything, change the whole procedure, and she had to do a COVID test before they could continue. And I couldn't go back to get our stuff because now I had to stay in the room and I couldn't leave, and I had to change my gown to the, I guess if you're a COVID patient or suspected of COVID, you have to wear this color. And then everything just changed in that moment. And they went back for all our stuff and brought everything back to our room. And then we had to be isolating. But they were still going to continue with the surgery, but just with a different procedure.
Right. And I even think, I feel like the route that they took to the operating room, I felt like I didn't even see anybody on that route. So
Somebody was there.
I'm thinking like this was probably like a COVID route away from people.
It's a one way. Was it?
I
It's
feel
a
like
one
it
way.
was.
It's a one way because they were pushing you out on the bed,
And they had to clear.
you had to
You
take
know what?
that
They
route.
cleared the hallway
probably
because they cleared the hallways. Because I remember the outside in the hallway there was a couple of nurses standing, and they were out there waiting, and they told them gown up, change your gowns. This is what it is, and they all had to change their gowns, and then they were all standing out there. They came back before my nurse was just wearing a mask. They came back with face shields and
Everything.
the whole shebang. And I was like, and that honestly, that really annoyed me because I was like, I've been in here since Sunday. I've been here for 30 odd hours. I haven't left this room to go anywhere. And if anything, one of your nurses brought it in here to me. I was really annoyed by that, because I would be treated like, and even the nurse was like, we know it's not COVID. We know it's an infection in your uterus because your water's been broken so long. We know it, but just because of COVID, we have to take these precautions. And I'm like, now you're making me anxious, antsy, and annoyed because you know what it is, but you're treating me as if it's something else. Anyways, rolled me into the operating room, pumped me up with all the pain meds and everything. The meds flowing through my body went cold. It's true. And I was just laying there, like I just felt myself, my teeth were chattering, and I was just like freezing. And the anesthesiologist was like, "You're cold?" I'm like, "I'm extremely cold." So they gave me a warm blanket across my chest. They set up the shield, the barrier, everything, and they went to work.
all that time I was still outside waiting, and they just said sit here and we let you know when to come in. So I was there waiting and praying because after a while I was like, what's taking them so long?
I think this was taking them a while to kind of to set me up.
I'm saying I was hoping nothing was wrong, and that they would. I was hoping that they wouldn't come and tell me that, oh sorry, you can no longer come in because of whatever. So I was just there just praying and waiting until they finally came and called me in. When I went in, she was already set up and they had already started the procedure. So I just came in and sat beside her, and then we just started talking the whole time until they were done, because she was like, she didn't want to fall asleep and she wanted me to try to keep her awake.
So I was awake and I felt everything.
So she says.
I felt everything. You don't know what I felt. When they took my little boy out, I didn't hear him cry. I couldn't hear
He
him.
didn't cry right away.
No, I couldn't hear him crying. And I was like, why am I can't hear him? And then they put him over. Now, I must say, I didn't know this. I don't know if this is in all hospitals, but above me is a monitor. And when they put him on the table and they're cleaning him up and all that stuff, I'm able to see him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to see what they're doing over there. So right above my head. So that was pretty cool, pretty neat, like I thought.
And I was still able to go over and stand and look at what was going on.
Right. They sewed me up. What was it like over there?
They took him out. First, we wanted to record the whole procedure, but they said, "Oh, we can't give permission." Like everybody we asked said the same thing. I don't mind, but I can't say for everybody, because some persons might have a problem with that. And we didn't have time to go around and ask everybody individually if we could record,
Right.
So we just said, okay. So they said, you can take pictures when they're taking out the baby, and then you can record the baby after that. And that's what we did. So I tried to get a few shots, but I don't know, they keep blocking him every time I press the camera. And then I went over to the table and they just started cleaning him up. They cut the umbilical cord one time to separate him, and then when I went over, they left a little extra piece for me to cut again. And then they cleaned him up and put on his diaper and all of that, and check his weight, his temperature. They took the liquid out of his throat, and all the regular stuff that they would do. They cleaned him up and then brought him over so that Trish could see him, and that was it. We just waited until they sewed back Trish's belly and then roll us back into isolation.
All the layers. Oh my gosh.
It was back in the same room because we had to get the COVID results first before we could go over into recovery.
Yeah. But we were there. He came Tuesday morning at 2:22 a.m. Again, of course, I was awake because now I couldn't sleep. Worse, he was in the room. Anytime a nurse or anybody came in the room, I was like, "Who are you? What do you want? Why are you touching my baby?" At one point, I was like, stay up and watch him. I need to sleep." So he had to sit in the recliner right by.
I was right there. Nobody could come and touch him without passing me or without waking me up.
Exactly. He was like right there. But that was it. That's
pretty much it.
That was my experience. Of course, they said now we need to wait 2 years so that I could fully heal. But the plan is to. A joke. The plan is to wait 2 years till I'm healed.
The plan is to let nature take its course. Okay. Alright, so that's it,
If
guys.
you have any questions, comments, just leave them down below. Let us know what you guys think. That's it. Don't forget to
like, comment, share, and subscribe.
See you next time
on Cloud Lindsay.